What's happening, everybody? I'm Nick O'Sullivan,
And I'm Jeremy Kane.
and this is Beefin with the Boys. So, Jeremy, what is your dream car?
My dream car, it's nothing like crazy. I just think I would really want like an old school, like Z06 Corvette.
Okay,
Like
fancy.
I'm not like a huge car guy, so like I don't look at like the fancy supercars and see it and I'm like, oh my God, like that's what I'm working towards.
Yeah.
But I'm also not like an American gun-ho like car guy where I'm like, I need to have the old muscle. Like I just see like even a newer like Corvettes are really cool. It's like, man, that'd be like fun to play with, especially we went into like the racing history, something that's just like fast and like fun.
Yeah.
I could probably mess around with.
Did you ever see one of those growing up? Did your family own one? Family friend own one?
Yeah. So one of my uncles owned a Z06, a lot of fun. And then, you know, I drove one around a racetrack.
Put one in gear?
I put one in gear and got after it a little bit. And then my dad actually owned a 65 Mustang. Okay. Still to this day owns it.
I know there's like a couple of years where like the Mustangs were like super rare, unique.
So 64 was the first year they were ever made.
Okay.
64 and a half. I don't know why.
I'm not a car guy, so
Yeah.
I don't really know.
And he's got one of those. It's sweet, dude. Ooh. It's sweet. Maybe I'll get it one day.
Sweet. Does he keep that locked up in the garage?
Covered and in the garage. Yeah. It doesn't really take it out unless like it rains and all the pollen drops down. So it's like old, no power steering. Like you got one little side mirror. It's like really bad.
Crank it and pray, baby.
Yeah. You get a forearm pump just from driving it.
All right. Let's see. Mine is just your classic Ford Bronco. Growing up, my dad had one that was like burnt orange or kind of like reddish. And it just brings back memories of, you know, we're driving down the road and we're maybe going like 45 miles an hour and I'm sitting in the front seat.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden he just like gasses it and the front kind of like lifts up a little bit. And I would always think we're popping wheelie. And so I'm there just like, woo! But we're probably going like 55 miles an hour and the front just lifted like maybe like an inch or two.
Yeah.
But I love that car. And then my buddy got one in high school. And so I don't know what year it was. He sold it. That was one of his biggest regrets in life was getting rid of the Bronco.
Yeah. I appreciate cars. Like I'll look at it and be like, dang, nice car.
Yeah.
But like,
yeah, exactly.
There's so many other goals I want to work towards that like dropping 300K on a car is just like, man.
Yeah, no. Yeah, like kind of like you. Like I'm not into like big fancy sports cars.
Yeah.
But I think you would probably get the more enjoyment out of that with the whole racing aspect. I think going to a track and racing them would be fun, but owning one, I'm just like,
Yeah.
Maybe just like right now in life. It just doesn't, you know, give me the tickles, but maybe later in life. All right, you guys. So on this episode, I kind of wanted to dive in. It was just Jeremy's 29th birthday. So if you didn't wish him a happy birthday, go ahead and wish him a happy birthday.
Then you're dead to me if you don't.
And it brought up the topic that we get asked a lot, which is, you know, when you're going on vacation, like what does training look like? Does you have to stop training or like what kind of equipment do I need to use? How can I modify it? Intensity and whatnot. And then kind of what effect does that have on your progress? Is that going to be detrimental? Is it something that you can kind of just like brush over? So we'll dive kind of into that as well.
Yeah, I think so. Starting with the first one, like what does training look like when going on vacation? That is probably one of the biggest questions I get both as a coach one-on-one and then also within our app. You know, what I always tell people when they're traveling or going on vacation is like, what are you going on vacation for? Typically when I go on vacation is to experience life and to be active, like do a bunch of stuff. So, you know, for me, it's not that I don't want to, it's just, it's really hard to fit that in my schedule. If I'm going on hikes, golfing, you know, exploring the local food, cuisine, tours, like all that, to then sit there and be like, oh, let me just go like, I don't know, like work out for an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Yeah.
And so what are you going on vacation for? If you are one of those people that go on vacation to legitimately relax and you're posted up in a resort, you're going to hang out by the pool all day, use the hotel gym and kind of just modify something, or, you know, the hybrid program a lot of times is built with machines or maybe some bars, but you can always substitute for dumbbells. Yeah. Just do something and just understand that you're probably, if you're on vacation, not going to get the best workout, but just check that box for yourself of like,
would you say it's more of like a maintenance type workout rather than?
Yeah. Like for example, we went to, my birthday vacation, we went to the pool a couple days. Like, you know, the Airbnb we were staying at had a couple of dumbbells. Like it was like, cool, I'll do some curls, push-ups, and like a little like rowing for some back stuff.
Yeah.
But like I'm doing 3 sets of 20 and like going, like I'm not doing it for progress. It's more like my body feels like it did something, so I'm okay.
Yeah.
Like I'm not going to lose my mind. Also depends on the amount of days. Like Europe for 45 days, granted I was walking, but like if I were to go back for another extended period of time where I wasn't doing as much, then for sure I'm going to like work into my schedule of like how to do something.
Yeah.
But if you're going to, you know, for 4 days, you're not
going to lose all your gains in 4 days. So don't stress about losing your progress in the progression of the training program. You know, have fun. There's some fun ways to kind of hit all the muscle groups to kind of like maintain everything. If you need to get in, get it done. And
I'm a big fan of like a mental reset is needed. Yeah. So it's like, oddly enough, I think the people that struggle most with going on vacation and working out are the people that don't actually work out hard when they're like at home, because they're in this like middle ground of like, oh, I really want to lose weight. Like I can't lose my progress. It's like, well, if you're already overweight, you're probably doing something wrong anyways.
Yeah.
And so most of the time what I see is people that are working out super, super hard, when they take 4 days to just go experience life, it actually helps them because it gives them like a mental reset of like, hey, like I feel refreshed, I feel rejuvenated. That's where I'm at. Like, you know, I work out really hard when I'm at home, and I can step away for a couple days, and by that time that 4th day, 5th day comes around, I'm like, damn, I like really need to work out. Like I'm pumped to go back and like get in my routine.
Exactly.
Versus you get those people that half-ass their workouts, not really getting results, and they're like, oh, but how do I manage it when I'm on the road? It's like, well, you're not even managing it at home. So like,
it's going to be the same.
It's probably going to be the same. Like you can't expect much. If people that are like super squared away aren't doing it, then, but in general, it depends what you're going on vacation for. If you're going to experience life, go experience life, get the mental stimulation from that. If you're going to go sit at a resort all day, find a gym.
Yeah. So a lot of our training is designed to, you know, help you enjoy vacationing, like live better so you can enjoy going on vacation, doing those hikes, and exploring. That's kind of like what we gear our training for, is to live better. And so, Jeremy, what is your go-to vacation workout?
Oh, man.
Let's say you only like limited equipment, you know, maybe dumbbells or treadmill, you know, a stationary bike, you know, just kind of like a basic, maybe hotel setup.
Okay. So hotel setup typically has dumbbells and a treadmill. Some of them have like a pull-up machine.
Yeah.
So let's say they don't have the pull-up machine. It's 5 sets, 10 dumbbell bench press, 10 dumbbell row.
Okay.
Oftentimes in like a EMOM setting, that way the intensity kind of creeps up.
Okay.
And then I'll do some dumbbell lateral raises, and then I'll do, you know, maybe some sort of a lunge, like 3 sets of 20 dumbbell lunges, and then just some abs, arms, get out.
Gotcha.
And it's typically, let's say, every other day.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But I'm not going in there like trying to set a PR 5K. It's just, but again, when I travel, I'm super active.
Yeah.
For the right reasons and maybe the wrong reasons, but I'm very, very active, so I don't feel lazy.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like to keep it pretty simple. So I have like a 3-day split. I'll just rotate through. I have like an upper body day. So I'll do like the bench, some rows, arms. If there's a way to do pull-ups, some pull-ups and whatnot, just get a massive upper body pump. Good to go. Second day is kind of like a full body circuit. I like to just do Cindy. So if I can't do pull-ups, I'll just switch it for like dumbbell rows. So it'd be like 5 rows, heavy, push-ups, air squats, 20 minutes, sweat, pump, go.
Yeah.
And then third day is just more of like a lower body. Depending on equipment, do some dumbbell rows, or not rows, dumbbell lunges, some goblet squats, do some core, maybe some calf raises, but then just kind of like rotate that through.
Super simple. You just got to realize you're not, like you said, you're not doing it to grow. Like you're doing it to maintain and feel good and maybe get a pump if you're going to the pool.
Get a pump at the pool, exactly. Exactly.
And then also like something that's super important to like think about, like when you come back from vacation, that's not your time to like punish yourself for being on vacation.
Yeah.
You know, someone had made the comment to us like, oh, I just ate like 6,000 calories. What can I do when I come back to like maybe put off the weight. One, you probably didn't really put off the weight. It's probably like you didn't put on weight in 3 days. Just more so inflammation or just kind of feeling a little heavy.
Yeah.
But, you know, don't punish yourself. Just get right back into your routine.
Okay. And so to kind of like summarize a little bit of like what we talked about, like what are some things that people going on to vacation, like maybe some key takeaways people can implement to like mitigate the quote unquote like damage or like the loss of progress? So this can be anything from, you know, nutrition to getting like their steps in, like workouts in. Like what would you say are like the 3 main things to kind of help mitigate that worry?
Well, that's a good question. I think the 3 main things that I would tell people to focus on, 1, be active, move around. And that includes working out or does not include working out. If you are an active person, go be active and count that as your workout.
Yeah, go explore town, go explore, you know, lakes, mountains, wherever you're at. Just, you know, get your, I'd say like, would like a 10K step goal be?
I mean, 15, because I would say like 10 for someone who's also working out. But, you know, just be super active, walk around, do things. And if you're not, then go find a gym or something to catch a quick workout in. So that's number 1 is be active. Number 2, set your eating up in a way that allows you to still live and have fun, but you're not getting way down the hole, right? So like an example of that would be, you know, if you know you have dinner reservations at like your favorite restaurant's Italian spot, like don't go out and then also eat chicken and waffles in the morning, followed by like a crazy pizza for lunch. And then all of a sudden you look back and you're like, man, I just had Italian food. Like I shouldn't have done that. It's like, no. So typically what I do is I actually keep my meals pretty carb lean and fat lean as much as I can, knowing that 2 things for me when I go on vacation are rather going to happen. I'm going to have a big ass meal that I really like that's going to have those 2 things in it. Or 2, alcohol might creep in that usually typically has a little bit of sugar, which for most people, I mean, I drink liquor when I drink. I don't drink beer, but that's typically kind of like what it is. And so that's number 2. And then number 3 of the things I would say, like, again, set yourself up for success by planning. Like plan, rather bringing some food, Airbnb so you can cook, like things like that are going to help support your goals. Like when I was competing and taking it super serious, it was only Airbnbs. Cook all my food. No need to worry about it. So just set those things up to nest with your vacation, and that way it's like you're good to go.
Yeah. So I kind of did that when I went over to Iceland. Right when we got back from Iceland, it was Wadapalooza qualifiers, TFX qualifiers, then probably the CrossFit Open was right around then. And so when I went over there, I was in a camper van, so I had, you know, some basic.
That's so sick.
Awesome. I could talk about that trip for days, but I had, you know, basic kitchen setup. I had like a gas stove, and I had like a cooler that somehow it didn't keep anything cold, but but basically my game plan was I was going to make 1 or 2 meals a day. Then I was going to allow myself to like enjoy the local cuisine, either like a lunch or dinner every night, because, you know, you got to experience the local food. But that was one way I kind of like stayed disciplined to what I was used to, and I could stay on track for what makes me feel good and what I know I need to consume. So that was one of the things that I did.
No, that's super smart, especially like when you travel like that.
Exactly.
No, that's cool. Yeah, that's what I would say, man. Just those 3. Like, keep it simple.
Okay. And then for when you're getting back from vacation, like let's say like your trip from Scottsdale, you know, I think a lot of people are like, all right, I'm finally back. I'm going to go 110% in the gym.
Now I'm going to try.
I'm going to just like hammer away to get back in the progress, where it's like, you know, maybe you just need to come back and like kind of like ease your way back into, like maybe lower the intensity a little bit. You can do A, B, C, D, but maybe hit it at a little bit of intensity. What would you advise people possibly getting back from vacation and getting back into the progression, the gym progression?
Like, yeah, I mean, understand that you might need a couple days to kind of build that into, like, don't be super hard on yourself. Something is better than nothing. Also, that's actually a good tip I would say is I schedule all of my vacations to come back so that way the next day I can immediately jump into my routine. So I very rarely, unless it's, work related, I don't come back on Tuesdays and Thursday, like midweek stuff. It's like always I try and come back as early on Sundays as possible. Okay. That way that being rough, out of the shape, or need to reset, everything is done on Sunday, can get a full night's sleep into where like then I attack Monday, like today with over 300 milligrams caffeine and like with a fresh mind ready to roll. Yeah. So I would just say work back into it, and just understand that, especially if you're doing some strength stuff, if you went on an extended vacation, like when I'm back from Europe, I was weak. Exactly. Super weak.
Extended vacation, time traveling, time zone, time changes.
Yeah.
Body's going to be lagging.
Yeah.
Give yourself grace. Like,
it's just not that serious. Like, no. If it is that serious in your life, if you're a professional athlete, then you wouldn't have these questions.
Exactly. You would be more prepared. Yeah. You'd be kind of more dialed in.
But if you're John and Susie going on vacation to enjoy the beach.
If you're Nick and Jeremy, yeah.
Like, yeah. I mean, even us. Yeah. It's like, I had a great weekend, but.
Yeah. We're going to lower the intensity for Jeremy a little bit today.
I don't know. We'll see if this caffeine can do it. But yeah.
Oh, man. You were in rough shape yesterday. That was funny.
No, I was rough. And my voice, that's why it's messed up. It was not good. It was, I got an IV late yesterday and here we are.
Juiced up, ready to roll.
Yeah. All caffeinated.
All caffeinated, baby.
All caffeine, all go.
Okay. So you might actually get this a lot as well. So for people that are, really tracking their macros, going on vacation, what are some tips and tricks that maybe you've given to some clients or maybe that you use for yourself, especially like when you're competing heavy and you were traveling around a lot for work, to stick to your macros whilst traveling?
Yeah, protein's super important. So it's especially, again, if you're not cooking for yourself in Airbnb, it's not a must, but just understand that when you go to eat out, typical restaurants fill their food with like additional fats, butter, oil, to get the flavor to pop, right? And then also they overserve on the carbs because they're cheaper to buy, and they underserve on the protein. Okay. So, or not really underserve. I just would say like it's just not a priority. Okay. Versus that's why you get those like, I don't know, there's a chicken Caesar salad and it's like very little chicken, 3 ounces, but they got fucking 700 croutons in there and like a gallon of ranch.
The dressing.
Yeah, and it's like, so what I would like, the best tip I would tell people, when you go to eat at a restaurant, try to stay as lean as possible until it is that meal. Like if it's the meal that you want to experience with your family and friends, try and just super protein basic, low fat, maybe ask them like, what are they cooking it in, or try to go to like a grilled place or something like that. That way there's as little amount of additional fat needed. Okay. Cause let's say, you have 4 ounces of chicken, pretty low protein or low fat. In a restaurant, you got to typically probably add 15 to 20 grams of fat to anything you eat.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Rough. I mean, it's not like a research thing. It's just like, understand that they're heavy on the flavoring.
Cooking ingredients that go into it, yeah.
And so it's just a general rule of thumb. So if you're tracking your macros, I would just recommend track what you can and then, add it in. Maybe, hey, just understand you're about 10 to 15 grams of fat more. Gotcha. And then another good one, I guess, would be order meals that you can kind of see everything separated, right? Like it's really hard to order a pasta of some sort and like guesstimate kind of what's there. Okay. Versus you get a steak with, let's say, potatoes and like greens and fruit. Gotcha. You can probably look at that and be like, all right, well, I ordered a 14-ounce steak, whatever it comes out to, whatever. But, I'm roughly there. And then, the potatoes look like a handful of potatoes, maybe a cup. Right. Okay. And it's also separated. You can kind of also see how much fat they use and flavoring and whatnot. So that's another one. That's a good one to kind of do is like stay away from the stuff that's like combined into a bunch of stuff. Okay. Like a risotto. Like that'd be really hard.
Yeah, all just mashed.
just mashed up, right? Like in Spain, I had a paella and I was like, I don't even know where to start with like what I'm eating right now.
The shepherd's pie approximately. Yeah.
Like that would be super hard. Yeah. But
you had previously said, stay lean, throughout the day. What do you mean by that? Like,
I'll give an example. So like I woke up, I had an egg white omelet with some fruit and potatoes. Not a lot of fat in that meal, aside from the added fat that they probably added to the omelet.
Yeah.
And then I think I went and got like a little protein shake thing, again, super low in fat. And then for lunch, or maybe it was like midday, I had some sushi, and it was like a lean tuna. Because I knew that we were going to watch the UFC fight on Saturday, and we had wings, super fatty, nachos, and loaded tater tots.
Hell yeah.
I didn't feel guilty eating that because I was hungry all day because I wasn't having fat, and fat helps with that. But after that, I didn't feel like super down on myself where I was like, damn, I ate like shit. It was like, oh, I enjoyed the flight, and it was a good time, but I was full throughout the day. So that's what I mean by that. Just lower on the fat, knowing that probably when you go to have your like fancy meal, it's going to be heavy on the fat.
Okay. Yeah. That's good to know. And then also, unless you are competing, it is okay to maybe jag up your macros for a few days.
Just enjoy yourself, man. Like if you're in that season of life of traveling and enjoying your, like, understand that not everyone has the privilege of doing that.
Yeah.
And so why not go enjoy it? Like, would you be the person that goes on vacation to Hawaii and like you're upset because you didn't have like a poke bowl or
chicken breast with my rye?
Yeah. Or it's like, you know, you come back and you're like, man, I was eating this on a beach watching the sunset. Like, how amazing was that?
Exactly.
And it's like,
all right, now we can make a little bit of adjustments and get right back on track.
Yeah. And like that mental reset, I think, is way more crucial than I think a lot of people realize. Yeah. And I think people are just way too hard on themselves. Now, this does not mean go on your vacation and eat like a fucking asshole and then come back and be like, well, Jeremy said to go ahead and just eat whatever I wanted and have a good time. Not saying that, but like, Spain is a really good example of like, you know, I went and had this like paella dish, so it's just a bunch.
So okay, now we can talk about the quality of food on vacation too. So
I mean, try and keep
Italy now eating pizzas and pastas compared to like what you're eating here.
Yeah, it's a lot different, and so you know, just this last weekend's a good example. It's like I ate pretty clean throughout, and then it's just like, I might have some nachos because I'm watching a sporting event. Like, why not? Outside of that, I don't think I eat anything that like I would be really mad at myself for. Like, I had a burger and fries. I eat that here probably once a week. You know, little things like that. And so just, don't go crazy and be like, oh, well, you said. It's like, no, like, be realistic about it, but just understand it's good to have a reset.
Okay.
So,
let's see. Are there any other travel topic, fitness questions that we need to answer?
Outside of that, before we kind of move on, like the biggest thing I would say is get it done in the morning if you are going to work out.
Okay.
But don't be that person that whether one has to stop everyone else's fun and you have to go work out at 4 p.m. Or, you know, you're never going to do it because you're going to start eating, maybe drinking, maybe hanging out. And it's like, you're just you're lying to yourself if you think you're going to like do it. Right. And so get it done in the morning. If you are doing CrossFit, I would say definitely find a gym that has a morning class that will allow you to drop in, holds you accountable, and it holds you accountable to the time.
Okay.
So
and that's another thing, like, especially if you're following our Stay Beefy program, it is okay to drop in and do a CrossFit class at a box or anywhere else, you know, do something different rather than wait for open gym and like make sure you can use all the equipment that you need for our programming workouts. Like, it's okay to like go have fun, compete with other individuals and other programming.
Yeah.
So that's another thing. And then I got another hot question for you, Jeremy.
Oh man.
Are you ready?
I don't know what this is, so we'll see.
What are some things that people should avoid completely while going on vacation if they're trying to be more conscious about their fitness and their nutrition? Some things to just completely avoid.
Things to completely avoid. Fried food. Like, I mean, there's just nothing good that comes from it, besides like the flavor. But, you know, like just stuff like that. But, you know, it's a hard one to answer.
Not completely avoid, but like, you know, maybe you should stay away from, like, these are my 3 things that I would probably stay away from.
The big one that jumps out to me is like the tripling and doubling down on like your big meals, like in the same day, because that's a lot. The second one would be, you know, if it doesn't fit the scene, then I would probably say like the alcohol. Like, you don't want to go crazy with it, especially if you're drinking stuff that maybe has a little bit more like carbs to it, you know, like beer and wine.
Yep.
Yeah. Like, you know, just be cognizant of that. Understand that, like, if you're drinking wine all week and then all of a sudden you're eating pasta, like Italy, that was a problem where it's like everyone had wine and they bring you like the best pasta in the world. It's like, dang, like I'm just like I'm carved up for the next month. But that would be like kind of really the only one, because again, I'm one of those people that like I utilize travel and vacation to like really enjoy myself. If you're someone that travels for work and it's somewhere like routine, then I think at that point, like, you need to find things in that area that will support your goals. Like there was a time where I was going to Arizona really frequently. I got a gym membership somewhere. And like, unless it was for someone's birthday or something cool, it was like, I would just make it. I stayed right near the gym. It was part of my normal routine. I went and got like a meal prep service that would like give me some food for the week. But that was it. It was simple versus like, you know, but that's only if you're traveling the same spot. Outside of that, I am a huge proponent of like, enjoy your vacation, come back ready to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you kind of just talked about, you know, you were in Italy, you know, you had the wine and the pasta. Does it make a difference, you know, the quality of the food that you're getting? So let's say over here, you know, your wine and your pasta is going to be a lot different, or your pizza is going to be a lot different than like what you're eating over there in Italy and in Spain.
I will speak like anecdotally, like,
yeah.
I don't know if there's like research. I mean, there probably is. I just haven't read it.
Okay.
But how I feel, like, I don't eat gluten. It's a personal choice. I've just kind of had this intolerance I kind of built up from not eating it. And when I go over there with like all the regulations they have on food and how fresh it is, like, I can eat gluten and be totally fine.
Okay.
And ironically, like, it is a little bit better over there just because they do have stricter regulations on what they can put in their meats and in their food. And so, you know, I guess if the question is like, what is the food better to eat over there?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I mean, just enjoy yourself, like, have a good time and just be able to kind of get back and stay active. I've lost weight every time I've gone to Europe, and I've eaten wild, like way more than I would eat here, but I walk everywhere.
Okay.
I'm going on hikes, I'm backpacking. It's like really easy then to lose weight.
Yeah, exactly.
So as long as that's being supported, then you're good.
Okay. And now I kind of want to take a quick pivot. As we said, Jeremy just turned 29. I've got another question for you. As you're entering your last year of the decade of your 20s, what are some goals that you have? Would you say you're kind of at where you wanted to be, kind of like nearing your end of your 20s? Elaborate kind of like where, if you're in your early 20s, where did you see yourself like before maybe you were 30?
Dude, that's so interesting. So I would say that I am further than I thought I was going to be. However, this happened, almost spilled my drink.
Yeah.
Sorry, C4. It happened very late. So I think like early in my 20s, if you listen to the episode about me, I was like stuck on being in the military. I was like, I'm just going to be in the military till I'm 40. I'm going to retire, go play golf somewhere. Then like business for me kind of started picking up into 25, 24 time frame, 26. And I was like, oh, like maybe it would be cool, like by the time I'm done with the military, or if I get out early, to be like fully kind of on my own and just like be able to chill. And I had this dream of like retiring early, like I'm gonna retire by the time I'm 35. Like,
so you're saying, you know, you're 20 years old, you're thinking like, all right, I'm gonna be
in the military
for life. What were those kind of key business developments that kind of led to like, okay, maybe if this grows, then I can get out and maybe like develop this a little bit more? What were those turning points in your life?
So one was coaching. I'll forever be indebted and grateful for Chris McNamara. He got me into coaching and like fed me people. And so when I first started coaching, it was literally just to pay my groceries. It was funny. Nick and I this morning actually just saw my budget from when I was 22 years old. I was making $1,600 a month. And
he made it so he had like an extra
I organized. I was very, very frugal, and I made it to where I had an extra like $300 or $400 a month to spend on myself.
Yeah.
So like when I say like, that was kind of like, oh, I'm in the military, I'm just going to try and figure it out. When I started coaching, it was like, all right, how can I get like 1 or 2 clients to help pay for my groceries? Mm-hmm. And that quickly turned into like, well, now that's a house payment. And like, you know, it kind of was one of those things like the first pivotal moment was when I was like, oh wow, like this can actually start making a little bit more money.
Yeah.
Then there was a second pivotal moment in coaching. This is, you know, when performance driven life kind of took off and started going, is I was actually making more money with coaching than I was in the military. Ooh. And I was like, interesting, still drowning with time. So the vision wasn't there as to like a big pivot because I didn't have processes set up. Like I was like super behind on like stuff like that, but I was making the money. So I was like, we're here, but I have no life. Yeah.
So you had also previously talked about, you know, you qualified your VA loan, you went, bought a house with.
Yeah.
You were saying that, was it your uncle or your dad that was like.
My dad. Yeah.
Getting that business.
Yeah.
How did you teach yourself, or did you have somebody helping you along the way? Was this self-taught going through that whole process? Because I don't imagine you just think, I can go to the bank and get this, so I'm going to go get this loan, and then maybe I'll just go put it on the house and wing it from there.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like one of my like biggest things that I feel like I'm good at is like common sense comes really easy to me.
Okay.
It's just like crazy to say.
YouTube how to.
Yeah, like, hey, I want a rental property. Google
some research,
like, and then it's like, you know, I wasn't doing, it's like home run, all these guys are selling these fucking courses that they don't even do it themselves, but sell a course, like make $40,000. Like for me, the first one I bought was like literally, how do I cover my monthly payment with renters?
Yep.
I applied, I got it, I found someone that paid me like $100 over the rent, and I was good.
Yeah.
And then it was like, then you just like any sort of development, you got to like further your development and start to learn more.
It just makes sense. You know, a lot of people think like, all right, then I'm going to go like get like this Airbnb thing and do like this huge business where like reality,
everyone wants,
maybe take like a slow step process to this, you know, it seems like you went step 1, step 2. Step
and like there was growth that I had that I didn't even realize. And like that would be kind of like that
whole learning process.
Yeah. Like that would be that like third phase of like when it's like, when was like another turning point? It was when I started putting in systems and processes that made it easier for me. Okay. But then also I did my first apartment complex.
When was this?
This was in 2019. Okay. 2020 maybe with buddy Eli. Okay. And I mean my pay like tripled, and I was like, whoa, we might be onto something. And that what it did though is it forced me to get really uncomfortable and learn about debt. Like how do you utilize debt? And that was the first time.
Where did you go to learn about utilizing debt?
The Googles. And then I paid.
You get a couple books.
A couple books. Like I paid for a couple books. I took like this like month-long course that I had to take. But it was just like utilizing resources and like finding. It was just doing it. Like fucked up a couple times, made some mistakes. But then that was, you know, 26, 27, where then that goal of like retiring super early was like, this is crazy tangible. Like I can do this. And then ironically, in my last year of the military, it was like, I was out. Like I was like, I want out now. Like, and I'm ready to go and do whatever I want to do, which has allowed me the freedom to do that now. Okay. To where I'm just kind of like in this weird middle space, right?
That's insane.
And so that was kind of the evolution through my 20s. And then, you know, in the last year of my 20s, I guess to like
with this last year of the decade,
man, like I'm still super hungry. I think, you know, there's a lot of things I want to accomplish in terms of like, I don't have like a money goal. It's like, it's like a challenge goal for me. Like it's just fun. So, you know, the last year, I want to be able to really set up the success to be able to literally do whatever I want. Like right now, I do what I want, but it's just, there's still some things like, I got to take this meeting, or like, I have to do this.
The freedom to be able to kind of pick and choose.
Yeah, and just make it super passive. Like it's kind of what I'm working towards now is like owning everything I'm owning, but then maybe getting it big enough to a point where, you know, I'm just kind of overseeing everything, and I'm not actually hands-on doing it. That way, we can go travel the world.
take some sweet landscape pictures, baby.
Yeah.
It's a dream.
So hopefully we're off to a great start for both PDL and myself, and you're going to have a great rest of the year as well.
Yep.
But that's kind of like what I would see. But your birthday's coming up.
June 27, turning 30.
So what about you? What's something you're looking forward to, I guess, entering the 30s and kind of like what's next?
Yeah, so I'd say if I were to answer it the same way as you, when I was 20, what was I doing? I was a little wild when I was 20, 21. Didn't really have a clear direction of what I wanted to do with my life.
Yeah.
I was still obviously like in school. I wanted to get into business. Don't know why, but I figured that would apply to a lot of things in life. Maybe try to climb the corporate ladder. Partying a lot. Life happened. Got sober. Reintroduced myself to fitness and training and competing again. And then I guess in my early 20s, I wanted to be some sort of professional athlete and make millions and billions of dollars. But no, just kind of figure out a way to make money, competing, doing what I love to do, being active, and then the creativity aspect of that kind of trickled in randomly with that as well. And then I've always been a creative person. Like I was an artist as like a kid growing up, loved to draw and do all that stuff. I initially actually wanted to get into graphic design when I went to school. But the college that I went to first didn't have the program, or they had just cut it. So I was like, shit. All right, business it is. And then started getting into like the social media game, got my first camera. And so wanted to get in the creative space, maybe figure it out. Not sure what the hell I could do with it. I didn't know of anybody making millions and billions of dollars doing photos and videos and whatnot. But I was enjoying myself and then just kind of figuring it out as I go. And then would have no idea that would lead me to, starting my media business, moving out to California. Yeah. Really building like a clientele business and then having like a really good couple of years. And so getting to 30, seeing as like I had no real clear view of where I wanted to be when I was in my early 20s, I'm excited for where I'm at now. Yeah. Where I'm about to be.
For the people that don't know, Nick's coming to Austin, baby.
Coming to Austin.
Couple weeks.
Yep, couple weeks. I think by the time this airs, I'll be here in Austin, Texas. Fresh start. I'm really looking forward to continuing to build my media business and then see what avenues that opens up and where I can go with that. And then as well as this training business with you. I mean, it's been the biggest blessing and the most fun that I've had because it allows me to be creative. I get to, get involved with the community of people. I'm chatting with people all over the world. We've got a great community in there. It allows me to train, compete, do all the things that I love, and then just like express my creativity through the stuff that we get to create. And so I'm really excited to see where this takes us in the next couple of years. Yeah. We've got some big ideas and some big plans already in the making. We're not going to share that with you quite yet. So, but stay tuned. We've got some really fun, exciting things coming up. But yeah, so I'm really just looking forward to like really buckling down this next couple of years. Yeah. And growing these businesses and then getting into some more stuff with you and Zandy Poo in the future. Yeah. That's kind of some of the goals that I have for myself.
Okay. So goals moving forward, just kind of keep expanding on things.
Keep expanding, keep growing, keep expanding, and then trying new things.
Give me what's three personal goals you want to accomplish maybe in your 30s.
3 personal goals. I want to debt-free. So right now it's student loans. Yeah. It's not a whole lot, but, I would like to be just completely debt-free, get that paid off. I like to pay that off in my 30s. Yeah. Early 30s, as soon as possible. Let's be real. I like to get outside of my comfort zone a little bit more. So I like doing this podcast, traveling around.
For people that don't know, Nick is a introvert. I am the talker. A lot of people don't know that though, because like on social media, it's like it's flipped. So like everyone sees you and your page, and like boom, boom, boom. I can talk to a brick wall, and if you hang out with Nick and I, 90% of the time, it's me talking to Nick.
So if you've been listening the last couple of weeks and you're like, why the hell isn't Nick talking? It's 'cause I don't like talking.
This is very uncomfortable for him. So
this is something like I've actually honestly struggled with because I've ADD, ADHD, and I remember talking about this with Hunter, but it's like we could be talking about like A, B, and C. My mind is thinking about like MNOP, and then I'm trying to like talk to you about this. I'm like, oh shit, like where are we again? I've always struggled with that, and then I've always been introvert until I get like comfortable with you. Then I'll start chit chatting with you. Just not a big.
Okay,
big
so get uncomfortable. What's the last?
So this is helping me get outside of my comfort zone, start communicating more, expressive, all that jazz.
So what's your last kind of? I mean, there's probably more, but like, what's your last kind of personal thing you want to accomplish or look forward to?
Traveling more. I mean, I got like a small taste of that with, going to Iceland, solo travel, but then I'd also like to like travel with you and like some buddies, do some trips.
Yeah.
But the solo travel game was just an unreal experience. And you've probably felt that going to Europe as well. Just kind of, I had no real game plan. I had like a photo with like some key destinations that I wanted to go to. And so I was just Google where to get to there, and then just kind of finding camping spots, figuring out the food situation. Brought my camera and being able to photograph these beautiful places all around the world. And
yeah, that's pretty cool.
Debt free, get outside of my comfort zone a little bit more, and travel. Take some just breathtaking photos.
Yeah.
So you guys can all buy them.
No, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, I got a bunch I feel like that I want to look forward to, but like, and I don't know, man, like entering like the next 10 years, I guess, like one of the things for me, I really do want to travel and just kind of be able to do whatever I want, and like, I feel like that's why I've been working so hard is like, I think I have like 5 projects happening right now. And so, being able to travel a lot, I really want to go back to some of the countries I've been to, go to new countries. Also just like that type of lifestyle of like, hey, tomorrow I want to fly to Greece. Why not? Like,
yeah, if you're listening, drop below what your favorite place you've traveled to and why. What were some key destinations you went to, why you loved it so much, and maybe we'll hit those up. Continue.
And what's interesting, like a lot of my goals, if it's not travel related, have to do with family and friends. Because when I was in the military and then working business, like I didn't have that ability.
Yeah.
So, for me, a lot of it is like, I'd say like a second goal would be getting around family and friends more, just to be able to kind of be in their presence and just kind of enjoy that time.
Yeah.
We're already off to a great start, right? Like there was a time where Nick and I probably saw each other once a year. Like that was like a good year.
The last 2 years, yeah.
To where, now he's moving to Austin. So we'll be together a lot more, obviously. And then the last one, I feel like I kind of have this goal, but then like every time I attempt it, it just like lets me down because it's so annoying. Like it would be cool to like have a solid relationship with a female. Like they just suck. Like they're just so bad.
Oh man.
And so something like that by the time I'm, I don't know, 35, 38, like someone that I can actually rely on to like be a good person.
Yeah, I guess it would be cool to have a family. Totally forgot about
but
that.
It's like, it's
Mom, Dad, I do want a family in the house one day. That should be higher up on the list. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's like one of those things. I feel like every time I try to date someone, it's like they're just terrible as a person, and then it's like, all right, well, I might as well start another company. Like,
it's just all life lessons. You're learning and growing, and then the person will just magically show up and slap you in the face one day, and you're like, shit, this is it, man.
I hope so. I haven't been slapped in the face in a really long time. Multiple ways.
Thank God.
But yeah, man, that's kind of where I'm at. It's like travel, enjoy time with family and friends, find like a significant other that's worth anything, like a value.
Compliments your life.
Yeah, it complements my lifestyle. For those of you listening out there, I want to travel. and live in multiple spaces.
Yeah.
Oh, that's another good one. I want to live in like multiple places. So that way at any moment I could just be like, I want to go here for a week. Like I envision like Arizona, Texas, and like the mountains somewhere. And it's like, this month I'm going to go to Colorado and just hang out.
Savage. Yeah.
It would just be fun.
Yeah.
Maybe an international thing. That'd be pretty cool too.
That'd be really cool. Just,
yeah. A business
house up in the Swiss Alps.
Yeah. A business partner I'm opening up a bar with owns one in Portugal. And like he casually dropped that on me. He was like, oh yeah, I got a spot out in Lisbon if you ever wanted to go to it. I'm like, what? Like that's so sick. Savage. So that'd be one. What's something that you learned in your 20s that like two things, or I don't know, just anything. Like what'd you learn in your 20s that you think like you didn't think you were going to learn, or maybe you did learn, you're like thankful for?
It's okay to not have it all figured out right now. You know, everybody's moving at their own pace of life. Everybody has their own goals, their own beliefs, and all their wants of where they want to be. It's not a race. We're all going to end up in the same place eventually.
Man, that's
By
good.
that, I mean dead. We're all going to die eventually. You know, have fun, learn, live, explore.
Dude, that's good.
And something I guess I'm still trying to do right now is like stop comparing yourself to others.
Yeah.
That's something I've always struggled with. You know, I've got a lot of buddies that do really well. I've got a lot of buddies that are married, a lot of buddies that, you know, have families and kids and all that. And it's like, fuck, like that's where I should be, where it's like, you know, it's not. Maybe I need to grow more as a person. I need to do more things. And then, you know, at the right time, like it'll all kind of fall into place. At least that's what I'm hoping.
Yeah.
But to just kind of like stop comparing to others, and, you know, it's okay to be where you're at in life and learn and grow.
I love that.
What about you?
I mean, I think you touched on it a little bit because it jumped out to me. The biggest one is probably the most important thing I think you do as a person is like continue to grow yourself, like spiritually, physically, mentally, like because doors open up from there. Like if you don't know who you are as a person and like you're struggling with kind of things you're going through, and you don't want to do the work to like learn who that is or change that, like that's a you problem, no one else's. And like and so I don't know, I just feel like I went through some stuff where it was like started journaling, started like writing it all out, and like I feel like when I started doing that, started being like super clear with who I am as a person, shit got like real clear. Like where I was like pumped to do it, you know? And so that's probably where I would say is like what I appreciated the most about kind of especially the late 20s. It was like really kind of carving out like, here's the type of person I want to be entering my 30s. I'm going to do things to do that.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of where it's at.
Gotcha.
We're good?
I think we're good.
We'll cut this part out. But yeah, well, let's wrap it up.
All right.
We'll start the next one.
All right. That was deep, Jeremy. That was deep. I really appreciate it. So thank you guys for listening in. Can you give us some brief updates on where we are at in the programming right now?
Where we're at in the program. We just started our summer shred cycle for both. I mean, all the programs are kind of on the same path.
Goals are the same.
The method is
the way
different.
we're getting there is different.
Yep. So we just started doing in the Stay Beefy. We started doing some power cleans and snatches to build towards an Olympic weightlifting build. And then now we're starting to really add in time domains of 12 to 18 minutes of the gymnastic movements and higher rep volume stuff that we were getting that muscle hypertrophy, getting the click and intensity that's going to really drive up to lose some body weight or body fat.
LBs.
Yeah, lose some LBs. And then, you know, in our hybrid program, you know, we're just changing it up a little bit, changing the stimulus, a little bit more bodybuilding focus. That way you can really maximize the growth there. And yeah, it's gonna be really good. And then our Stay Lean just cranking away. It's a really good program to get on to supplement your CrossFit class.
Yes.
And kind of just maintain some basic movement patterns.
Beautiful. We look forward to having you guys on the team. Thank you for listening.